Hi folks. So couldn't really sleep last night. Maybe got about 2 hours of sleep, and when I had very intense dreams, and when I woke up, I felt rather sort of intoxicated, but not drunk, like just almost to a degree ill, but feeling extremely overwhelmed, confused. Not my body wasn't, not feeling like it was functioning properly. Didn't feel like I was in my body, and again, my heart was beating pretty fast. Then I had to catch a plane at 10 this morning. Okay, yeah, now it's late afternoon, and I just thought I'm gonna have to cancel the flight because I just can't make it. I just felt too ill in a sense, and I was thinking about what brought on this ill feeling. This feeling of illness, I would say. Almost also a sense of nausea, feeling nauseous, feeling off balance, and just couldn't get my act together. I felt also it was because of the intense dreams that I was having. The dreams that I was having felt very real, right? Very real from the sort of often plastic world that we live in, right? Where we are walking around very much desensitized, not very alive. Okay, living in some kind of fantasia in a way. Anyway, so that didn't help either, but what I felt at the time was that I've been around people of late that were just very unbalanced and very chaotic and very confused within themselves and etc. They generally are this way, but I'm finding for myself in my own consciousness and sensitivity and awareness, I'm definitely more aware of it, and it impacts me more so, right? And so I just felt ill, and again, it was because I really feel for the past few days I've been spending time with people that are not doing very well in their own lives, and it's very heavy to experience that. It's very heavy to realize how lost somebody is, how unaware they are, how confused they are, how sometimes dangerous in their words and their actions they are, right? How regressed they are, how helpless in a way they are, and just this full-blown ego a lot of the time, that makes up for it, this grandiosity, right? And to see that and to come to terms with it, more and more so, again, is intense, and it's not to be undermined, it's not to be played down. Like what the dreams that I was having in the early morning were basically just dreams of things of fire and burning, I remember, and just of seriousness of consequences and realities. I can't remember exactly what the dreams were, but that's what it left me with. It was like that there is a dark energy that is in the world. There is for whatever it's part of the nature of things, and it's not to be taken lightly, right? It's not to be undermined, and it's not to be ignored. Okay, it's there, and I think the more one becomes detoxed, purified, divine, intelligent, sensitive, empathic, switched on to that which is the light, the dark, is evident. It's not as subtle as it used to be. It's real, it's serious. It'll churn you up, it'll chew you up and spit you out. It will hurt you in so many ways. Okay? It will impact you so greatly. Okay? If you allow it in. Alright? And for myself, I think I was allowing in this darkness from one person in my life in particular. right? They're sort of a new person in my life, friend if you want to call it, and I think I was too open to them, because also I thought for myself that they had, and they do have, you see, this is where it gets complicated, they do have conscious qualities. They actually, they are a seeker in a sense, but they also carry with them a lot of karmic energy. I don't know what you want to call it, right? From this life, I don't know, from past lives or whatever it is, but from this life, they carry a heck load. Okay, and when I'm in communion with them, and just their energy, and just the discussion sometimes, again, a good individual, a good person, but very, how can I say, imbalanced, very imbalanced, and not aware of how much darkness in their own life, or at the same time, are they letting in, like, are they aware of. We got into a talk about hip-hop music, rap music, and I was talking about how dark it is, and how offensive it is, and they were kind of saying, well, rap is real, hip-hop is real, right? If they're talking about private parts, because I mentioned one of these songs, because we're on my laptop and we had a look and it was lyrics, and I said, how can you understand these lyrics to be real, right? How can you say that this is okay to be played on a public forum to all ages, especially the young, and say that this is okay? And they found that what I was saying was like sacrilegious, like this is their Bible, right? This is where they go to for life's lessons and answers. And it helps them understand their own anger and frustration and things like that, right? And the swear words help them express, and the sexual innuendos make them feel more alive and sexy and and in touch. And I was like, well, that's not in touch. I mean, I wasn't really saying this, but I was just appalled, and sort of, for this individual, for this person, they were like, the dirtier it is, and the heavier the bass is, the better. And I was thinking about that, and I was like quite taken aback, because I didn't think this person actually, this individual, they into healthy eating to somewhat, they conscious of people to a certain degree, they enjoy nature, they like spending time on their own. In fact, they value it very highly. Okay, but a part of them, right, is extremely dark. And for myself, I think I was just being a little bit too open and exchanging of energies, in a way of just in that communion of being present with them and listening to us, and actually getting sort of quite passionate with them about my views on the dangers of hip hop, and trying to explain that it's actually mind control. We got into Rihanna and Beyonce and other very unsatisfactory characters in the hip hop industry, and I was saying you should spend some time on YouTube, because there's a lot of good people that are talking about the ills and the dangers of hip hop music, and they go into it, and how it's not even really music, and how it's just mind control, okay, and how it's actually trying to exploit human beings, and how it's trying to manipulate us and really bring us down to our sort of, I wouldn't, it's just our primal instinct, not even that, just our, I don't know, it's, you know what I mean? And so I was kind of appalled by their admiration and reliance on something so dark. And then I was thinking to myself, like, what about a lot of people in the world that are addicted to many things that are very, very dark, right? And very dark energies. Like, fashion, to a certain degree, can be a very dark energy when it's used for vanity, right? So many substances and foods, drinks in the world, entertainment, is very, very dark. Okay? And I was just I don't know, sitting in that moment, after school, this morning, and thinking about the world. And on the way to the airport, I was looking at the advertisements and how they were glorifying again alcohol, and it was just seen as something that's so sexy and elegant, And I saw they were glamorizing fast foods, okay, and glamorizing the latest cell phones or whatever it is, and then and so I look around again and I see, it's like in that movie. They Sleep, I think it's called. It was Rodney Piper, I think his name was, passed away. They Sleep, where he looks at the billboards and it just says, when he puts on the glasses and he just sees it says consume and obey and reproduce and whatever it is, and he sees it for what it is, and then that's how I sometimes can feel, and it's really real. It's really real. Okay, and one of the things that I found for myself that affects me in the world, whether it's just subconsciously, subliminally, is just the sexual exploitation, right? That is just everywhere. That is just like, I could feel with this individual that I was talking to, this person, that they were the hip hop, the exploitiveness of the sexuality, right, was actually a turn on for them, right? What I'm saying is that we use the naked body we exploit the body, especially the female's body, but also the men's body as well. We use it as a tool to manipulate, to confuse, to bring us down into, again, I would say our lower base levels or something or other, right? And we use it to, and then, because wherever I feel I'm walking, people are looking at you. It's like a constant fashion show. People are sizing you up, and especially I feel like, with men to women as well, right? And women also dressing in a certain way that wants the men's attention, or just attention, or just wants to feel, better than her friend or other woman out there, or that she actually exists and she's not a loser and she's, something or other. And I see what I'm saying is the sexual trance that we are put under. Okay, I don't know the words for it exactly, but we put under a sexual trance where we are overly sexual about things. I mean, music today, most of the big hit songs, majority of them have to be sexually orientated. They've got to sound sexy. The voice has got to sound sexy. Right? Again, I was talking to this person about real music, and they couldn't hear it. They said it's too slow. They said it's not appealing to me. And then I realized it's because it's not sexy. And that's what we're selling. That's what the world is selling. We're selling sexiness by the shape of the cars that we drive. I'm saying these very expensive cars, the colors of them, the shape of them, right? The sound of them a lot of the time. It's all about sexiness. Even the music has got to sound sexy, the kind of bass that they use or whatever it is, or the hook or something like that. It's just got to sound sexy. And sexiness is just like, even though we use it in furniture, I feel like sleek and elegant furniture, sort of very, I don't know, there's probably all these terms for it. I mean, there's words for it, but the new type of furniture that a lot of people have in their houses, it's not the old way of desks and things like that. It's all very sleek and shiny again and sexy. And so before you leave the house in the morning, for most people, you got to look sexy and you got to smell sexy, right? And so we don't realize this, that continuously what we are trying to be is like sexual magnets to one another of some kind or another, or just engage in this vibration of sexiness, which I think is absolutely very dark. So in a way, we create an identity, we create a persona to be of somebody who's a sexual object. Okay, and it's based also primarily on the energy of lust. Okay, and lust is obviously not love. Lust is a strong desire. It's probably one of the strongest desires that there is. I mean, just from a primate, physiological level from the human being, it's probably one of the most strongest motivators, in a sense. And so lust doesn't consider really the other person as on a conscious level. Lust is seen as simply desire, simply sees the person as just an object of gratification, of pleasure, basically. And so we're looking at each other and we're seeing, how can this person pleasure me, right? And most of the time they're not even attainable. They're not even, but it's in our imagination and curiosity. And I mean, I see that for myself. Like if I'm walking in the streets or in the shopping malls or something like that, and I'll see a woman who's wearing a mini skirt, I find that my eyes go in that direction, right? She sticks out to me. And then all of a sudden my curiosity goes, and then my imagination flows, and I get carried away. I get carried away in this almost fantasy, almost. I mean, very briefly. And I try and observe that and catch myself in that moment, all right, and then retract and pull back and sort of, not keep on engaging on that level. But that's what I'm saying, folks. Is in the times that we live in, majority of human beings, around the world, or I don't know too much, but especially first world countries, in a sense, where we're constantly engaged in this lustful, sexual type of energy, right? Where we're feeding on it, okay, and the desire grows stronger, okay, and so on and so forth. And so what I'm saying is that there's this powerful energy of lust and sex, okay, is what is I think we're being intoxicated with. I think we are being mind controlled with, okay, and I think we are again identifying ourselves with it at the same time. And so, ending off on here, what can I say? Is that there is all different types of unhealthy energies that are around, just as much as there are healthy energies. But what we've got to be doing is seriously respecting the unhealthy energies, or the darker energies, the darker forces, right? It's real. Just because, like I said, so many people are desensitized to it, so many people are completely oblivious to it, doesn't mean that we must have our guard down when it comes to it, right? Doesn't mean that we must give in to it and it's just the norm, okay? Because it's not the norm of so much of these darker energies. We need to be vigilant in protecting ourselves and understanding, I feel for myself, that the more conscious one becomes, the more easily disturbed, I feel for myself, you can be by darker energies, all right? But to the degree of which you let them in, and by the degree of which they overtake you, okay? There's no question about it. And now there's one point I actually want to touch on before I end off, which is maybe, I don't know if this is the right place or time or whatever it is, but I find for myself that I was having this conversation with a lady friend the other day, and I was saying that somebody who needs to have, how would I say, in the bedroom, right, that they need to have toys and movies going and swings and a bit of S&M and burning of wax, of candles and things like that, and causing pain to a degree while in the love making. I mean, that's not even what it is, but these kind of acts of, even for the woman to dress up as a nurse or a teacher or something like that, or for the man to be spanked. I mean, you can get really far out. This conversation that I had with this lady friend of mine actually got a bit disturbing, because in truth she used to work as in the profession in the sex industry, basically. And so she was just, we're having a discussion about this, and so I was saying that I noticed that for myself, that back in the day, right, I was interested in a lot of these toys and a lot of these movies, sexual movies, pornos and whatever it is, and maybe talking dirty, and I had my fantasies and whatever it is, but and I don't know, weird stuff sometimes, weird stuff. And so for myself, I think I grew out of that. The more conscious I became, the less desiring was I for anything more than just love making in itself. Okay, just the intimacy of it, just the energy of it, just the spirituality, just the romance of it, just the height of it. It didn't need to bring in toys, didn't need to bring in dirty talk or something like that, or even lingerie or dress up or role playing or something or other. Anything explicit, graphic, etc., etc. Like, I just found that it wasn't for me. It didn't speak to me, and I think that one of the signs of somebody who's not necessarily, I don't know, through my experience, is not necessarily healthy to a certain degree, requires a lot of these accessories, I would say, when it comes to lovemaking. All these unnecessary devices and tools, and the whole story. Now, not because I think romance is brilliant. I think like candle lighting, soft music or something like that, incense, whatever it is, that's beautiful, of course. But, other things are not necessary. And so for myself, it's just something maybe for some of you folks out there, some of you listeners, just to have in mind, is that if you do something, right, where you feel almost shameful about doing it, right? Maybe it's even certain sexual positions which are not not really very conscious or needed. Okay, I mean, you can get quite graphic, and this stuff disturbs me a lot of the time. But I mean, what my lady friend, what she was explaining to me, some of her clients liked and enjoyed. I was like, I didn't want to. It was too frightening for me to understand that, to even hear that. And so for what I'm saying is that for you folks out there, that if you feel that by doing something that after the act or the next day that you have shame about it or you have regret about it, then be careful not to repeat it again. Okay? Just be careful, right? I mean, because the desire will be there, the rush will be there, the excitement will be there to try it again. And if you can redirect your energy into real, genuine intimacy and romance and connecting with another person on a soulful level, then you don't need any of these you don't need anything else, really. I don't know, folks. Just something I thought was worth sharing. Alright, so we'll talk again soon, folks. Take care.